This is the Roundtable Talk podcast, brought to you in part by Rayford Guns, the Hoke County edition of the North State Journal, the Libra Initiative of North Carolina, and our flagship station, WCLN Christian 105.7. And now here are your hosts, Ruben Castellon and Chris Holland.
All right. Welcome to the Roundtable Talk podcast. It's episode 165, and I'm Ruben Castellon.
And I'm Chris Holland. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's a little muggy, but not as hot.
I'm liking the rain.
So have you noticed lately that, there's people that pay attention to the weather here in North Carolina, but have you ever noticed that during this time that one of the methods of dropping the temperature, you get this rain?
Yeah.
For a while, and then it could easily drop the temperature for 20 degree difference, and then it'll go up, but it'll never go up again to 100.
To what it was, yeah. Yeah, we're definitely getting into the fall. My wife told me today that she saw some leaves falling from the tree.
Yeah,
and I think this morning it was, high 60s.
Yeah,
when they were going
little muggy still.
Yeah,
but
still
the
high.
temperature's definitely. Not the same as 3 weeks ago.
Oh, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, my goodness. It was
you
horrible.
Didn't even want to be outside.
It was horrible. So what you got going on?
So what I want to first talk about is, this is unknown, little known, I just heard about it, provision of the state budget that was just recently passed, that school districts are required to authorize 1 to 4 hours per week for a student to leave school and receive religious education, basically. Bible study or some kind of, prayer meeting or whatever they decide and their parents decide they want to do. But I was just wondering, we were talking about it before the show, and you said that, the lawyer usually brings those items to y'all's attention, so y'all hadn't really looked at it yet. But I'm just curious, Wake County, and this is the story that I read, Wake County, it's a big Baloo county. And
it's one of the biggest school districts.
Right, and they decided that they're only going to authorize up to 1 hour, because that's required 1 to 4, and then the school district establishes their own policy. But some of the comments of the commissioners and the school board up there in Wake County was like, there's no reason to do this. It takes away from education time, which got a point. But then there was another one that was like, this is all brainwashing. Obviously an atheist, what she was talking about. This is brainwashing, this is, superstitious, blah, 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 and stuff like that. So I just don't know how that will go over in Hoke County. Even though we are a blue county, we still have some pretty conservative, Christian religious people in the county. So I don't know, keep an eye out on it. Like you said, it'll be brought to y'all's attention, and then I'm sure y'all will develop a policy around the law.
My first thought, based on what you just brought to my attention, would be, obviously eventually there's got to be an effective date, number one.
Right.
Some bills that turn into law, obviously, I said this earlier, I'm wondering who's pushing that.
Right.
Because we know that our current governor has never proclaimed a Christian month or a date, but he was quick to proclaim a month, I think, for Islam. Okay, so this, I'd be curious to find out who was pushing this. Now, I've been a school board member now for going on 4 years, close to 4 years. In November, it'll be 4 years. And up to this date, I've never had a parent email me, and I'm speaking for myself. I don't know. I'm sure that the other board members have never received an email because it's never been brought to the board's attention.
Right.
Because normally when a board member receives an email on a complaint from a parent, normally it ends up going to the board because the board has to make a decision.
Right.
Because one board member can't make a decision, the board has to make the majority of the board has to make a decision. So it's very interesting to me to where in Wake County, obviously to me they did the right thing. But if it's required 1 to 4, which means the minimum is 1 hour, the max is 4 hours. So if it's the minimum, okay, I'm gonna give you 1 hour per week.
Right.
Okay. And but the thing is, I don't see what's the purpose of this. Not God. People know I'm a God-fearing man, but Are they going to get picked up by the parents? Are these kids going to have their own vehicles? If there's going to be a church specifically open to them during the school day for them
Well,
to go over
and
to?
that's some of the parameters in the law. It says the instruction will be provided by private entities. Public schools can only discuss religion in a non-devotional way. We already talked about the 1 to 4 hours. Students need parental consent. Students will make up all schoolwork that is missed. Religious instruction can't
Interfere.
occur at the school unless there's a neutral facilities use policy. Do you guys even have anything like that? I've never heard of
When
it.
I first became a board member, I remember very briefly that one or a few groups of students had Bible study time, but it was normally like lunchtime, something like that. Now I can tell you right now. Now this is just me, brainstorming. Uh, is there a possibility that and here's the whole thing. It says the school district. Is it the school district or each school? I mean, I have more.
I see what you're
I
saying.
have more questions
Yeah.
than answers because I have a niece in Rockfish. I've never heard her saying, "I need 30 seconds to pray to God,"
Yeah.
because she's focused in the school on what's at hand. And so, if anything, I see that more towards the high school students and more specifically a more mature level, like maybe. And I'm not saying that the ninth graders are not mature, but most definitely, if they if they're well educated, most definitely the 11th and the 12th grade graders are more mature. And so, but like I said, I've never had a situation where a parent, even
Has asked about it,
even
yeah.
when we were campaigning, I don't think religion was ever brought up. Well, they don't give us time to
Right.
pray or
Right.
nothing. I mean, we are, and I know that Hoke County is a blue county, but I got to tell you, I got to call it for what it is. Most Democrats that I know are very conservative. Look, we just had the cutting of the ribbon of the high school project. What did we do? We prayed.
Right.
And Democrats and the one Republican that was there,
The only one in the county.
we're all praying, and nobody ever makes a big deal out of it. We just
Right.
we just pray, and so I think that we're very in tune with God as the county as a whole. And so look, when we have the school board meeting, we pray.
Right.
And so, but it's never been an issue. Like I said, I have more questions than answers. I would be interested to actually see the whole law.
Right.
And because I'm pretty sure that the North Carolina State
Assembly.
School Board Association will probably, because they're the ones that normally draft policies, and they push them to us, and we either tweak or that makes sense. But most policies are based on general statute. This is obviously a general statute now.
Yeah.
It's law. And so, I have more questions than answers, because I can tell you right now, the school's not going to be providing transportation.
They don't.
Can the school provide, just like the Army, a chaplain room for you to go and pray?
Well, that's what it says. As long as the school has a neutral facilities policy, which means, like we talked about, I don't think you can adorn it, decorate it like a chapel.
No, it wouldn't
But it
be.
could be a
neutral
section, neutral area.
Yeah,
just-
a neutral room that most likely, if a student, and probably open from 8 to 3 o'clock.
Right.
And then probably if a student wants to go and pray, more like a safe
Yeah.
room,
Yeah. I mean, there's different flavors of implementing this, I'm sure. But I think what the statute's trying to get at is promoting religious education.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense logistically to have 1 hour a week, because by the time you get the student out of class, by the time you get in a car and go to wherever you're going to go, and then, the time to come back,
and
you
here's
already burned up your hour.
no, but
you know?
here's you bring up a good statement here. Okay, so we are going to authorize the 1 hour per week. So obviously you're going to take the 1 hour in one day. But if you have to drive to go from point A to point B, does the 1 hour start when you get there, or does the 1 hour start when you start?
That'll have to be in the policy, right?
So
yeah.
like I said, there's more questions than anything else. And so, but there's never, to my knowledge, at least the 4 years, we've never had an issue. I know in the past that there was one or two religious clubs, but I don't know what denomination it was. I just know that it was a club or two, and but I want to say it was during lunch.
Yeah.
That they got a little group
Got
together and they
Yeah.
prayed about it and stuff.
I got you.
So we'll see.
You brought up a point when you were talking about the emails and a board member receiving an email, and one member can't make the decision for the board. And so that popped into my head. Remember a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when the allegation was Commissioner Sutherland had called the zoning board and said, take that off the agenda, just go ahead and approve that permit. Remember all that? Well, Mrs. Lowry just retired last night.
How about
The
that?
zoning planner. Yeah, right?
But what did I tell you?
You knew somebody was going to have to take the fall.
That's
you
right.
know, and that's just, it's sad. You know, I hope that she wanted to retire and was ready and, ready to retire.
We've been around long enough, especially in government. I have worked my entire life in government agencies in one capacity or the other. And when things go wrong, you better hope you have the time to retire.
Right.
You know, because I questioned it from the very beginning about this thing leaking, and then the conversation, the questionnaire that the town manager was having, I found that extremely suspicious.
Right.
And you said
CYA.
it. Yeah, CYA. You know, but the one thing that was very interested is that the alleged emails never surfaced.
Right.
And see, so that to me says a lot, you know. And was this lady out of bounds? I mean, we're never going to know because the initial allegation was an email directed, a person sent an email to direct another person to take action on this. That email never surfaced. So to me right there, it should have ended.
Yeah.
But it didn't, because then it was follow up with a telephone conversation recorded dealing with personnel matters. That right there is a violation by itself.
Well, the phone call recording was all about, hey, yeah, it was personnel.
Yeah, it was.
You're right. There was no evidence between he said, she said, Sutherland.
Because she, in a
Mrs.
sense,
Lowry.
if you remember, she was counseling her.
Right.
Well, how, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
I'm making my own stuff.
Why did you do
how
that?
dare you?
Yeah. Why did you do that?
Yeah, why did you do that? So that is personnel matters.
You're right. Well, let's talk about commissioners and, their policies and lack of following their policies. So I'm sure everybody has read the Guy Saji Substack referring to the New Orleans trip. So last month, our county commissioners went down to New Orleans.
And when you say last month, August.
Okay. Yeah. I don't remember the date, but anyway. So just, some context. This last county commissioner budget cut $3 million from the school district.
Yep.
So they're like, hey, we're broke, so we got to take away $3 million from education. And then 2 weeks later, they go on a trip to New Orleans and spend over $21,000. And they took the trip to the National Association of Counties annual conference and exposition. Now, there's a neat little bar graph here or Excel spreadsheet that shows the expenses, some of the expenses. What I find telling about this, first off, just a common person reading this, there's different amounts for hotels and for airfares, right? So basically, that means that each individual commissioner booked their own plane, booked their own hotel. But if you look at the hotels for two of our commissioners, the amount is $1,115.
For how many days?
Well, that's where we'll get into that.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be, the conference was 4 days.
Okay.
Friday through Monday, right?
Okay.
So if you take that top line of 1115 as the standard 4 days, then you look at, okay, well, this commissioner only spent $849. This one only spent $999. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been to several conferences in the course of business, and typically, you stay at the hotel where the convention is being held.
Normally, yes.
So you would think that if they all stayed there for 4 nights, they would all have the same hotel bill.
Unless they got there late or left earlier.
There you go, right? Unless they got there late or didn't do all the same days,
That's
right? But then you switch back over here, they all collected the same amount in meal per diem and the same amount in meetings.
That's interesting.
In meetings, right?
That's interesting.
So, and that's just like I said, that's what stuck out to me. Hey, if you've got a different airfare between 2 individuals going to the same event, different hotel rates, that means that one of them went and didn't stay as long.
So they did not stay in the same hotel, or they did?
It doesn't. We'll get into that, and that's one of the FOIA things that somebody needs that's really interesting. This could probably do, because they are required to submit receipts.
They are.
Once they do all these travel things.
And the chair signs the per diem that you're going to get, or that you already
We'll
got.
talk about per diem, yeah. So, and that's the question: why are the airfares and hotels expenses different? Did all the commissioners attend the same number of days? And if they didn't, then that means getting reimbursed for meetings and meals at the same rate across the board.
It shouldn't be the same way.
It shouldn't be the same way.
No, it should not
right?
be.
All right, so meals. Let's talk about the county and the state meals per diem. So the state of North Carolina pays its employees out-of-state meals, $10.60 for breakfast, $14 for lunch, and dinner for $27.70 for a total of, and plus lodging up to, meaning the max, $111.10 a day.
That's just for the meals.
No, that's meals and lodging.
Okay.
Meals and lodging for a total of $163.40 a day. That's North Carolina state employees, right? Our county will pay out of-state per diem for meals and overnight incidentals. Breakfast at $20, so that's double the state rate.
Yeah.
Lunch at $35, that's 3 times the state rate. Dinner, $60, almost 3 times the state rate. And then all amounts include gratuities. And then, so $115 total, and that's for our county employees. County commissioners will be paid $200 per day for out-of-state meals. $200 a day for out-of-state.
And that covers breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yep.
And most people don't even eat 3 meals.
Most people that have a family, a week's worth of groceries. But anyway, yeah.
But you know what? But let me add to this. But you know who makes those rules?
Oh, I know. But the rules are already in place, right? So the county, according to travel regulation, pays $200 a day to the commissioners. Wow. Our commissioners are actually paid $300 a day.
For meals?
For meals.
Just meals, not the lodging.
For meals, yeah. If you look at the column that says meals, it says $1,200. Now, there's the question again, right? So if we look at 4 days, that's $300. Now, typically, when you go to a convention, you travel the day prior and you travel the day after, right? So that's spread over 6 days. It's the $200 rate. Mm-hmm. However, you don't get full per diem on a travel day.
No, you don't because you're traveling.
Because you're traveling.
Yeah, you're traveling.
And that's in the regulation too. All right, so commissioners paid $300 if we go with the 4 days, $200 if we go with the 6 days. The 6 days is where we're running into an issue though, because if meals that are included in an event's registration cost should not be claimed as per diem.
Yeah,
so now, the county will only allow exceptions related to medical dietary restrictions. If employees or elected officials opt to skip an event meal that is included and purchases meals elsewhere, this is considered a personal choice and will not be covered by the county. So let's go to the agenda. On Friday, the first day of the convention, there was a first-time attendees breakfast.
Okay.
Mary McCullum, this was her first time.
That meal's covered.
That meal's covered. On Saturday, there was a lunch provided for everybody.
That lunch is covered.
On Sunday, there was a lunch for everybody.
Covered.
So that's 3 meals at $60 at $200. Break down
about
by
$75.
3. Yeah. So there again, we're looking at, are we at 4 days for $200 or $300? Or are we at 6 days for $200? And why are they the same for every day when we've got 3 days worth of meals that shouldn't have been claimed because not eating there is a personal choice?
But you know what? Let me add something to this because I not every entity operates the same way. I can only tell you the way the district operates. When I went initially, when I was elected, we went. Everybody went. Obviously, the 3 new members and the existing other 2 board members, and I was given $300 for 4 or 5 days. I don't remember. I left. I came back at 8 early. It ended on Sunday night, so I came back on Saturday. So it might have been 5 days. I was given $300. That covered my breakfast, my lunch, and dinner for those 5 days.
5 days, yep.
So I wasn't getting really nothing. And all the events I went to, none of them provided a meal.
Yeah.
You have to pay out of pocket.
Right.
And so that to me, that was right. So, but I'm gonna tell you, who is responsible to make sure that that everything is checked? Obviously, it's an ethical issue if it's wrong. Okay. The finance officer.
Yep. And the county manager.
And the
she's
county
one that
manager.
she signs
They are
off on.
responsible to make sure that this is being done correctly.
Right. And so from the website, the registration includes access to all workshops, committee meetings, general sessions, and conference-wide receptions. So kudos to the commissioners. They got the early bird registration at $575 because it incrementally went up the later you closer to the convention. So they took advantage of the early bird for that, saved us a couple $100. But all committee meetings were included in that registration fee. In the registration or in the regulation, it talks about meetings that aren't reimbursed by whatever event you go to, right? Well, first off, if you're going to a convention and you're doing meetings, breakout sessions and stuff like that, that's part of the convention, right? Why are we paying county commissioners meeting fees of $200 a day?
Unless they're having their own meetings.
With what? What are you talking about? The commissioners having their own?
Unless the commissioners have their own meeting.
Why would they be doing that? They're at a convention.
Just like they've done it in the past.
If they had their own meeting,
we tried doing that, but we never got together. We always wanted to. I forget what it's called. The top of meeting.
Ad hoc.
No, it's a retreat meeting.
Oh yeah. Well, I know what it seems what it should be called, fraud.
Fraud meeting.
A fraud meeting. All right. But anyway, so that's where we're at with that. Meals, $300 a day.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Yeah. $300 if we go with the 4 days of meals.
I guess if you go to New York, you probably pay that much money a day for meals.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, we were talking about includes all the meetings. But our commissioners got paid $1,200 for attending meetings while they were at the convention. But the convention site says that all their meetings are already covered, so there was no additional fees to come out of pocket.
That's flaky right there.
All right. So commissioner meeting allowance for out of county is reimbursed at $200 a day, right? Our commissioners receive $300 if we look at the 4 days of convention, or if we look at the 6 days. Then we have to say, okay, on their travel day, they had a meeting. On their return day, they had a meeting, and then that gets it down to their $200.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So let's meet at the airport.
Yeah.
And collect $200.
Yeah.
Don't pass go, and then travel back. What does it sound like to you? All right. I mean, this is coming from.
We're gonna get every bit of money we can get.
This is coming straight from the county regulations. All right. Why did they pay for the meetings? When the meetings were included in the registration. This is policy. After the completion of the activity involving overnight travel, all related expenses must be reported within 1 month to accounts payable by submitting a reimbursement of travel expenses forms. Receipts or other documents will be required for all expenses other than meals and overnight travel incidentals. Now, incidentals are a taxi from the airport to the hotel, internet, because you got to get in there and look up some regulation or something like that. That's incidental. It's not hotel bills, which should be reported on the expense travels. And they must be submitted to accounts payable before any reimbursements can occur. Now let's talk about lodging. Lodging, hotel. You know, everybody had a different. Two of them had the same, and the other two commissioners both had two different amounts.
So we had a high and a low.
Yes, yeah. We had a low of I think it was
Eight something. You said.
Yeah, no. Commissioner Sutherland paid $849.32 for his hotel. Commissioner Hunt paid $999.40, and then both Commissioner Leach and Commissioner McCollum paid $1,150.
So Alan Thomas didn't go.
He did go, but he was covered. I think he was vice chair of one of the committees or something in this organization, so they covered his fees.
So he didn't get paid by the county.
Well, he got paid $1,200 for meetings, and he got paid $1,200 for meals. So, yeah, that's what it says. Anyway, all right. So lodging. County will pay the actual cost of moderately priced out-of-county lodging. So let's talk about moderately priced. $1,115. You fly in on Thursday, you spend the night. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night. So 5 days. And that's a little over $200 a day. You know, for that could be moderately priced. But then you go around here and look again, and then you say, okay, well, $999 for 4 days, or 5 days is.
Is it for 4 days, 5 days, or is it less days?
That's the question, right? Because why?
Or was it a different hotel? Did they stay in the same hotel?
That's the question too, and that's where the receipts would be helpful.
That's
right.
Well, I'm sure they have to have the receipts.
He stayed at the Hyatt, and he stayed at the Best Western or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure they're supposed to have the receipts. They're supposed to have the receipts. We'll see. But all right, if an activity is being held at the hotel, the employee may select that hotel for lodging. If airfare and lodging expenses difference, and we just talked about that, might be considered evidence that not all commissioners attended the entire conference, why were they all reimbursed the same for meals and meetings?
Yeah.
You know? If travel days, we talked about that. I mean, we've traveled before in official business. So if travel days before and after the conference, 6 days total, then the reimbursements provided made sense. $200 a day for meals, $200 a day for meetings. Although, why are they having meetings in a conference? But anyway, however, to receive a full day per diem for meals, an employee must depart prior to 7:30 a.m. to receive breakfast. This is out of the regulation. An employee or elected official must depart 10 a.m. and return after 2 to receive a lunch. An employee must return after 6:30 to receive per diem for dinner. So there again, travel days, right? You're not traveling in official capacity the whole day, you know, especially in New Orleans. It's not like you get on the plane at 7:30 in the morning, so you get breakfast, and you don't get there till 6:30 at night, and so you get dinner. So there's still, oh man. All right. So does this rule apply to commissioners? They do have higher reimbursement rates than regular employees. So maybe they're excluded. It's not in writing that they're excluded, but it seems to be from their claim that they might be excluded from having a time period for travel days for claiming per diem. Some questions I think that we, the voters and the resident citizens of Hoke County, need to ask. Does the county have a centralized travel coordination official? Seems that
they have to. I'm going to tell you this right now. Of course, you know, the major difference between the school board and the board of commissioners is just one thing, really. The county commissioners got the power of the purse. That's why we have to depend on the county commissioners.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is there an official in the local government that says, okay, hey, commissioners, you're going to this conference.
There has to be.
I'm going to reserve the rooms. I'm going to reserve the airfare.
There has to be. And I say this to say this because for the school board, that official, that person that does all the coordination for the board members is the superintendent's executive assistant. She's the one that emails, hey, are you going to this? Yes or no? And she takes care of everything.
Right. And so you're saying the school board has that.
Yeah. So
I'm wondering, does the local government have that?
They have to. I don't see county commissioners making their own reservations. I don't see that.
Then why?
I don't see that.
Then would they be different? You know, because if she knew that 5 people were going, it'd have been all done at the same time.
That's a question that needs to be answered by the finance officer.
Unless people aren't going the same day. They're not saying the same
either,
amount.
Either based on the money differences between the hotels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can tell you there's one or two things happen. Either different hotels, or they did not attend all the same days.
All the same days. And so if it's different hotels, then we got to demand, why are we paying two commissioners $1,115? And if they did say the same amount of same period, we're paying another one $850.
And it might
right?
be, and
so that's almost double the cost.
And it might be that the ones that have the cheapest hotels are the ones that were able to register first, and then you pay more for the, because that happened to us, and then you pay because there's a penalty. It says, hey, we got this hotel reserved for this conference, and if you book your hotels from this day to this day, you get the early bird price.
Rates,
Anytime after that, you're going to pay more.
Right. No, and I understand that.
I mean, there's three possibilities.
But if we had a local official that did all the booking, then it would have been done all at the same time.
That's right.
And it would have been the same price. All right. So that's it. Wrap it up. Why are there different airfares and lodgings if all the commissioners traveled on the same day and stayed the same number of days in lodging? That's a question, right? Mm-hmm. If some didn't attend the full 4 days, why were they all reimbursed the same for meals and meetings?
Now, that's a legitimate question right there. That, to me, that's a red flag.
Why were the commissioners paid $1,200 for meetings attended at a conference, when the conference registration site said all meetings are included in the registration fee?
Unless they
made their own meetings. And then we have to have
minutes.
Agenda. What happened?
Yes.
What happened in that meeting?
Yes.
So there's a lot of stuff. People that are interested could call and ask. All right, there we go. Wrap it up. Why was it $1,200?
And then if they had a meeting, that means was the town manager there? Because that's like,
I'm getting into that. Why were the commissioners paid $300 per meeting when the county policy is $200 per meeting? Because it's $1,200, and I will call BS if they try to say that on their 2 travel days they held a meeting. Right?
I don't see
and
that
that's
happening.
The only way it could be the $200 rate is if they did those 6 days.
Yeah, I don't see
right?
that.
I don't see that happening.
Why?
So they were paid $300 for 4 days worth of meetings, and at $300 when the county policy is $200 a meeting. Why was the meal per diem paid for meals that were provided as part of the conference? Why were commissioners reimbursed $300 a day for meals when the county policy is $200 a day? Did the commissioners turn in receipts for their travel claims? Was the increase in meal and meeting reimbursements authorized by the county manager? Because there's an increase. Policy says this, but you're claiming this. Mm-hmm. Who approves that, right? And finally, why was Commissioner Hunt paid to attend a function when he cannot be reelected and will be out of office in December?
That's...
All right. That's a very good question. So,
very good question.
Looking at the event agenda, it also included breakout sessions for EMTs, law enforcement, and county administrators. Did anyone else travel on the taxpayers' dime to this convention, or were we just focused, was the focus just on the commission? They're only going to give you the information you request.
Of course.
Right? So we know about the commissioners. Was anybody else actually going out there? All right, so the county, this is me talking, the county has a habit of sending everyone to these types of events. When reasonable and accountable local government, they'll send just enough people to get the information,
that's right,
gain the knowledge, and bring it back to the rest of the group.
And if you follow the school district, that's pretty much what we do right now. Like the last one that they had, I know I didn't go. I want to say somebody else didn't go. I don't remember, but because we had to vote. I don't know how the county commissioners do it, but when we have training that the school board, i.e. all the board members can go, we get an email, and then some will go, some won't go. I decided not to go because I've been to one of them already. And then you're right, board members will come back, and then time goes by, they say, yeah, this did this if it's something new. If not, nothing new. So, but one of the things that we do is that we started doing with the new board is that we voted to approve the budget to go to that event.
Right.
I don't know if the county commissioners do that.
Yeah, if it's just general discretionary spending, or
I don't know.
Do they have a travel budget?
But we have money allocated every year for the board,
right,
for this type of training, but we still vote.
Right.
One, we let the people know that, hey, this is what we're doing, and two, If you want to know, it's there.
Right. Well, and that's transparent, right? And you know that, hey, the school board just voted themselves all five of them to go to New Orleans for the weekend, right? And first thing, red flag. Well, why are all five going? Why is one going that's not going to be reelected? And oh, by the way, they're increased the rates for per diem. Who authorized that?
I mean, if anything, I would say because Tony Hunt is not being, he's not gonna, he got
losing
voted,
his seat in
he got
December.
voted out. Basically, if anything, on a possibility that the person that won their primary, if anything, that person probably would be in a better position to go to the training.
No, I disagree because then you've got to take the two Republican candidates too because you don't know who's going to win. And then
well, you know
so
what? You could do that.
Yeah, you could.
You know what?
Well, if you don't care about money, you could do that.
Because we don't know, but it makes sense. Why pay for a county commissioner to go to? We don't know. We don't really know. Was it training? Was it just chit chat?
It's a conference. So yeah, it was policies. Across the country, they talk about different initiatives. The opioid settlement. There was a breakout session for that. I mean, it's kind of like, hey, this is what other counties across the country are doing. Speaking of which, there's 2,305, I think, counties in America. They all sent on average 2 people to this conference. Our county sent 5. One that's not going to be there in December. And I keep iterating on that because, they take $3 million. They say, hey, sales are going to be slow, property tax, yada, 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 whatever. We need to take $3 million from our kids' education fund, and then we're going to turn around and spend $21,000 to send a group of individuals
that all did not have to go.
That all didn't have to go.
And you know what? One of the things that I remember when all of us went to Florida, when I went to that one time, it's a conference, everything about school. But there's so much training going on that you can't attend all the conferences.
Right.
And I don't even remember, once we started, I don't even remember sitting in one room on a briefing on ABC and saw the other board members because there were so many people there.
Well, and that's what smart people would do, right? You've got 5 people. You've got a day of events. You would say, okay, Ruben, you're going to learn about this.
And that's
I'm
what we
going
did.
to do this. You're going to do that. And they might have done that. But then that leaves very little time for extraneous county commissioner
and I'm going to tell you
meetings.
this right now. We never had, when we were in Florida, we never had a meeting. We did have a huddle for lunch and dinner. And we did talk about things, but nothing to
Be an
effect.
official, yeah.
Nothing to effect because we weren't really having an official
Well, that's
meeting.
the thing. I'd like to see the agenda in the minutes.
I
from
mean, they
those
were having
meetings.
meetings.
They were holding meetings.
They should have meetings. That means that means the county manager was there because that's the person that's supposed to be the secretary.
Yeah, well, that was one of the questions. Who else from the county went and attended this event? So we run a little bit long, but I hope it was interesting, and I hope it just makes people think, right? This has been Hoke County. This is how it's been going for generations. And you have a chance in November to put some fresh faces, some fresh blood, some fresh ideas on the county board of county commissioners and in our district representation as well. So think about this. Don't let this just poo-poo. It's serious. It's serious that, the neglect, the disregard for our money, the just indifference, and just, we don't care. We are the commissioners. We can do what we want to do, and citizens be damned. So remember that in November. Put somebody else on that board, and let's see if we can't straighten some of this stuff out.
Some of the last things that I want to say is the fact that, we got the new high school project open. It's open. It's running. The back has to be finished, but so far so good.
The fishing pond, right?
That's taken care of. And so far so good. My only message as it relates to school, parents, you need to be involved. You need to be involved, parents, and voters, especially the ones that have a thought process that my vote doesn't matter. Your vote matters. When you don't vote, you give the other side a vote.
There you go.
Think about that. So I'm Ruben Castellon.
And I'm Chris Holland.
And don't forget to follow us and share and like and comment. Have
And
a good
see our
day.
YouTube.
That's
Follow us
right.
on
You
YouTube.
too.
All right. Have a good day.
Getting to the facts across the state, around the world, and at home in Rayford, North Carolina. The Roundtable Talk Podcast. Brought to you in part by Rayford Guns, the Hoke County edition of the North State Journal, the Libra Initiative of North Carolina, and our flagship station, WCLN Christian 105.7. Be sure to like, share, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. The Roundtable Talk Podcast.